What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nicholas Trainer. If you don't know, I am an author, and I am the author of this book, The War for Troy. It is book one. Book two is coming out later, and then book three will come out sometime in December. So book two, I think I'm going to aim for July-ish. So, pick it up on Amazon. You can buy it on paperback, collector's hardback, and then, of course, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's on there as well. But I wanted to start doing more Q&A type of videos potentially because for those of you who may not know, when I first wrote this book, it was in 2020. And since then, I had some friends of mine and some family and some readers I know, some writers I know, kind of just read over it, give me their thoughts, and then also ask me some questions. And as time went on, I kind of compiled all the Q&A questions and I put them at the back of my book in this section called the author's notes. So you can kind of go through, and if you were reading my story and you're like, I wonder why he decided to do that, you can kind of look through that and my question might be there answered already. But if you are to read my book and you want to pick my brain more, I thought maybe I'd start just doing a Q&A like this on some social media stuff. You kind of have to have a bunch of social media now as an author, so that's what I'm doing. So like I said, you have any cool ideas for a question you want to hear answered, I could do a video, I'll give you a shout out or something. But I thought maybe a smart way to kind of start it off is actually by going off of questions that are in my book first, and then people will see these and maybe they'll ask their own questions. So the first question comes from today, and I think this might be probably the smartest one to do for my very first Q&A one, and it's, what has inspired me to create my own adaptation of the Trojan War? And truth be told, I've always been a fan of ancient Greece. Anything sword and sandals history was awesome to me. As I gotten older, I liked more history, and I thought it was more interesting. But back in the day, if it was Roman times, awesome. If it was Greece times, awesome. If it was anything else, no, I just didn't really care about it. But something about this time period was great. The only thing is, a lot of stories from this time period, obviously, because 3,000 years ago, is that it's kind of weird in a good way in some ways, but also not. And what I mean by that is, for the time, it would make sense. But there's a lot of points where you're reading, and if you ever read the Iliad, there is all the characters that are, in the actual war, but then there's the gods kind of getting into things, intervening and causing issues. And I thought it'd be a really smart idea to kind of make a more grounded take on the universe. And so initially it was just going to be my own trilogy of The War for Troy. But based off the reception I've got from the book so far, and because I have established it as not just a trilogy, but it's also going to be, if you look right here, my own Blood and Steel collection, that pretty much means it's going to be its own universe altogether. So I always knew when I was going to write this that there was going to be that level of maybe people not super excited about me kind of, I wouldn't say tampering with myth, but kind of just giving my own adaptation on it. But that's just the way of the medium, right? Like when you're doing historical fiction, you got to take some chances here and there. And so initially it was going to be, hey, this is what actually happened in my thoughts. But now it's actually, no, this is a different universe altogether. So no one gets their panties in a bunch. Everyone can just kind of, hang out, read, enjoy. And then maybe, like I say, if a movie adaptation comes out of it, I wrote this book specifically to be able to be turned into a movie. So it's still a really good book, but it could easily be turned into a movie adaptation. So Hollywood, if you're watching, give me a call. But yeah, so I've always just been a massive fan of ancient Greek mythology, and I always thought that it'd be cool to take what we have, throw a spin on it, and I've always been a storyteller. I've been telling stories since I was 5, right? And I've been actually writing since I was 15. And man, many years have passed, and I was just ready to kind of take the next step and become an author and do my thing. So, a lot of people probably aren't going to love, if you're a massive history buff, like I said, you won't love this book. But I think if you're able to kind of take a step back and allow yourself to experience something new, or I should say experience something old but in a new, fresh take, you're going to love this book. You really are. And like I said, regardless if it sells well or not, I'm still going to finish the trilogy. If the trilogy does really good, then I will continue on. So far, I've gotten some ideas from people, and one was to do my own adaptation on the Odyssey in the future, which could be pretty cool. I have some brainstorming some ideas. Nothing's set in stone yet, but I dig the idea of that. And then also, because Achilles is a big character in this book, obviously, I had a lot of people saying to me, like, maybe an Achilles prequel, which I think would be cool. Like, I would dig that idea. And there's a lot of history that gets talked about in this book. And obviously book 2 and book 3 aren't out yet, but I have even more history explained when it comes to Achilles in there. So it would be a cool idea to maybe do that after the trilogy. But I'm going to put all my energy into this trilogy first to make it the best version it can be. And then I will take the next steps. But yeah, hopefully that didn't bog down the video too long. I didn't want to make too long of an explanation video, but I really was trying to explain everything in this. Effectively what it was is I made the outline for these 3 books in 2018. Then I made the rough draft for this book in 2019. And then I think I pretty much finished it by 2020, but I didn't have it like officially edited, right? And now it is. So, life happened. Family stuff happened. A big thing happened in 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. So I got slowed down. I'm ready to kind of jump back on the horse and, keep on going by. So if you're sticking around, I'd appreciate it. I'd love a sub. I'd love a like. I'd love a share. Anything you can give me. If you want to check out my book, I'll leave this in like a pinned comment or the description, wherever. It's somewhere down there. You can find the link. If you can't find the link, just type in The War for Troy, book 1 in Amazon, and it'll be right at the top of the search bar. But thank you. So far, getting great reviews. I'm really loving the community. So yeah, it's awesome. Hopefully that was a good way to answer that question. I know I kind of took a little bit of a tangent, but that's kind of what I do. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications for more, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.